President appoints Chief Justice of a High Court in consultation with 1. Chief Justice of India 2. Chief Minister of the State 3. Governor of the State 4. Leader of Opposition in State Assembly.
You're right. Fangnan 3 only is the correct answer.
The dash of the state government is laid before the legislature with the approval of the governor.
Good job. Your answer annual budget works well here.
If a person does not belong to any political party, she can contest the election. Nicely done. Independent candidate is a solid answer.
Who is the nominated member who represents the Anglo-Indian community of Tamil Nadu?
Smart move. Nancy and Cynthia Francis is an accurate answer. The President declares emergency in a state on the basis of the report of the dash. Great job. Governor is the accurate answer. The total number of members in the Vidhan Parishad of a state should not exceed dash of the total number of members of Vidhan Sabha, but this number should not be less than 40. Well reasoned. 1/3 is the correct choice. True or false? The Legislative Council has more power than the Legislative Assembly. You chose false, and it is correct. A gathering of journalists from the media who are invited to hear about and ask questions on a particular issue and are then expected to report on this to the larger public. Excellent. Press conference is a brilliant choice.
The members of the Legislative Assembly are elected for a term of -years.
You got it. Your choice 5 is right.
Column A, column B1. Head of the state ruling party 2. Head of the government, governor 3. Party with majority opposition 4. Party and minority chief minister.
Right choice. 1B-D3C is the best answer. Why are goods cheaper in weekly markets? They don't pay extra fee for any other reason. B, they sell low-quality goods. C, to get many consumers to buy from their shops. Right again. Both A and C is a valid answer.
In 2017, the number of constituencies in Himachal Pradesh was dash also. What is the minimum number of constituencies a party needed to win to become the ruling party? Excellent choice. 6835 is the right answer.
The position of the governor of a state is compared to the dash A of India. Solid response. President is a valid choice. In a study, it was reported that -% of people admitted in hospital have to borrow money or sell some of their precious things to pay the demanded expenses. Bravo. 40 is the answer.
Dash is the body of politicians in a state or country that make laws.
Perfect. Legislature is the correct choice. Who has role in making higher appointments of the state government? Sharp thinking. Chief Minister is the right choice. The leader of the majority party in the election is chosen as dash. Well done. Chief Minister is the right choice.
The governor can nominate one member from the dash community.
Nice selection. Anglo-Indian is the correct and valid answer.
In order to gain a majority, how many millas do a party need?
Nice work. You chose more than 34 and it is correct. Who can dissolve the House before the expiry of its term? Good thinking. Governor is the right answer. In Tamil Nadu, there are dash legislative constituencies. Valid point. 234 is true. Dash is the head of the State Council of Ministers.
Smart pick. Chief Minister is the correct choice.
Who is the Speaker of our teen legislative assembly?
Correct response. Daddy is the most accurate answer. If the Chief Minister is not a member of state legislature at the time of his taking over charge, he must be so within a period of -months.
On track. 6 is the correct answer.
Find the state which has a bicameral legislature.
Clear logic. Your choice, Karnataka, is sound and 100% true.
A place where all the malas of ruling party and from the opposition party meet together to discuss various issues or problems of urgent needs.
Correct. Legislative Assembly is the right answer.
Under which amendment to the U.S. Constitution, all powers not granted to the federal government are reserved for the states and the people?
Exactly. 10th makes sense and it is right choice. Each state is divided into different areas or constituencies. How many representatives are elected to become an MLA from each constituency?
Well picked. 1 is the correct answer. How many states have a legislative council?
Strong choice. 6 states is the right answer.
Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? 1. Legislature makes laws. 2. Executive implements laws. 3. Judiciary interprets laws.
Great thinking. All of the above is the right choice.
What is being shown in the above picture? Smart pick. Press conference is the correct choice.
To cast a vote, age should be of dash.
Excellent. 18 is a brilliant choice.
Where do you find shopping complexes?
Well-reasoned. Urban areas is the correct choice.
Person between producer and retailer.
Nicely done. Wholesaler is a solid answer.
The Legislative Assembly is the only place where opinions are expressed about the work of the government and action is demanded.
Great thinking. False is the right choice.
Rajya Sabha, that means the dash. Clear logic. Your choice, upper house, is sound and 100% true.
What kind of markets are these?
Nice selection. Permanent market is the correct and valid answer. In India, every citizen who is aged dash and above has the right to choose the political candidates to represent them. Good thinking. 18 is the right answer. A dash is a place where all the malas, whether from ruling party or from the opposition, meet to discuss various things.
On track. Legislative Assembly is the correct answer.
A political party whose malas have won more than half of the number of constituencies in a state can be said to be in.
Correct. Majority is the right answer.
If there are 90 mas in a state, what is the minimum number of seats required for a party to form a government?
Perfect. 46 is the correct choice. When people come out on the streets to support or protest a decision made by the government, it is called a dash.
Right again. Public meeting is a valid answer. A gathering of journalists from the media who are invited to hear about and ask questions on a particular issue. Sharp thinking. Press conference is the right choice.
Contingency fund.
Smart move. Emergency fund is an accurate answer.
The chief minister is a sole person who is responsible for the smooth running of the government.
Great job. False is the accurate answer.
Legislative Assembly can make law on the subjects mentioned in 1. Union List 2, State List 3, Concurrent List.
Nice work. You chose 2 and 3 only, and it is correct.
It is a political association that subscribes to a particular ideology and seeks to attain political power.
Well picked. Political party is the correct answer.
Which of these refers to government departments and various ministers who head them to implement the laws?
Valid point. Executive is true.
Which article in the Indian Constitution defines equality and prohibits any kind of social discrimination?
Correct response. Article 15 is the most accurate answer.
People can express their opinion through media or even in the Legislative Assembly through representatives.
Well done. True is the right choice.
The ruling party may not be a single party, but a group of parties working together. This is called a dash.
You're right. Coalition government is the correct answer.
Out of 68 MLAs in a legislative assembly, how many seats a political party should win to gain a majority?
Right choice. More than 34 seats is the best answer.
The opinions and the comments about the working of the government are also expressed through media like. Good job. Your answer all of these works well here.
State whether it is true or false. Members of the Legislative Assembly are elected by the people.
Strong choice. True is the right answer.
Buying and selling also take place without going to the market, but through telemarketing and internet.
You chose true, and it is correct.
A particular from which all the voters living there choose their representatives. This area is called.
Excellent choice. Constituency is the right answer.
The political party which is in a majority is known as dash. Da and rest of the members are called dash.
Bravo. Ruling party. Opposition is the answer.
In a monarchy, people organize meetings to voice their opinions and protest against the government.
Solid response. False is a valid choice.
The dash is the team of ministers who assist Chief Minister in discharging the government's duties.
You got it. Your choice council of ministers is right.
The Legislative Assembly cannot consist of more than 500 members and should not be less than dash.
Exactly. 60 makes sense and it is right choice.
MLAs who have dual responsibilities of being a minister and also an MA belong to the dash party.
Excellent. Ruling party is a brilliant choice.
According to UNICEF, more than dash children die every year in India from preventable infections.
Exactly. 2 million makes sense, and it is right choice.
President imposes emergency in a state under Article dash on the basis of report of the governor.
Excellent choice. 356 is the right answer.
The governor must not be a resident of the state to which she has been appointed as governor.
Perfect. True is the correct choice.
In the 9th century, the Gujar Pratiharas, Palas and Rashtrakutas fought for the kingdom of Dash.
You got it. Your choice, Kanjo, is right.
Money bills can be introduced only in the state legislative assembly only with the approval of.
Clear logic.
Your choice, Governor, is sound and 100% true. All elected mas meet to discuss their policies and decisions on various issues in the dash.
Bravo! Legislative Assembly is the answer. How many members can a governor nominate of the total members of State Legislative Council?
Sharp thinking. 1+6 is the right choice. The governor, dash, and the Council of Ministers are an integral part of state legislature.
Valid point. Chief Minister is true.
Ministers in charge of various departments of the government are chosen from the dash party.
Nice work. You chose ruling and it is correct.
What is the name of the elected representatives who are not members of the ruling party? Well done. Opposition is the right choice. The decisions taken by the chief minister and other ministers must be debated in the dash. On track. Legislative Assembly is the correct answer. A political party who has won more than half the number of constituency is called dash.
Smart move. Majority is an accurate answer.
The political party that has the majority is called the dash party. Fill in the blank. Strong choice. Ruling is the right answer. Dash of all children in India do not get adequate food to eat and are undernourished. Right again. Half is a valid answer. Most state constitutions contain more information and words than the US Constitution. Solid response. True is a valid choice. Candidates from various dash party won in the 2017 assembly election and became melas.
Good thinking. Political party is the right answer.
A situation when more than half the number in a group supports a decision or an idea. You're right. Majority is the correct answer. A person who gets elected from a constituency during state elections is called a dash. Right choice. Member of Legislative Assembly is the best answer. The Election Commission was established in accordance with the Constitution on dash. Well picked. 25th January 1950 is the correct answer. Can the legislature not approve of a new rule that the ruling party wants to make? You chose yes, and it is correct. A party whose malas has won more than half number of constituency is said to be in. Great thinking. Majority is the right choice. What is the term for a political party that has more than half the number of mas? Great job. Ruling party is the accurate answer. Sometimes a party may join hands with independent and allied parties to form dash. Good job. Your answer coalition works well here. The state is divided into dash for the purpose of legislative assembly elections. Smart pick. Constituencies is the correct choice. All the malas who gather together in the legislative assembly are called the dash. Correct. Legislature is the right answer. Which group of people were allowed to become rulers and kings in medieval India? Well reasoned. Kshatriyas is the correct choice. The of votes comes to the party which are half more than the number is called. Nicely done. Majority is a solid answer. The state of Himachal Pradesh is divided into how many assembly constituencies? Nice selection. 68 is the correct and valid answer. Some Mullahs have dual responsibility as a Mullah and as a minister. True or false?
Correct response. True is the most accurate answer.
The health services provided by the private individuals or companies is called. Well picked. Private healthcare is the correct answer. The party which has majority seats after the elections will be the Dash party. Well done. Ruling is the right choice. At the local level of government, the head of the executive branch is the Dash. You chose Mayor, and it is correct. Capacity to remain free from physical disorder, illness, or injuries is called. Correct response. Health is the most accurate answer. Which body is responsible for the execution of laws and policies in a state? Clear logic. Your choice state executive is sound and 100% true. Bharatiya Janata Party with Dash had majority, and it became the ruling party. Right again. 44 Mlas is a valid answer. If two parties have scored equal votes, then is it called a coalition party? Good job. Your answer, yes, of course, works well here.
Karaj, the tax on cultivation amounted to how much of the peasants produce?
Great job. 50% is the accurate answer. Can the opposition oppose the law which is made by another political party?
Perfect. Yes is the correct choice.
The government is divided into 3 levels: legislature, executive, and Dash. Valid point. Judiciary is true. That assembly is known as Dash, assembly in which no assembly gets majority. Nicely done. Hung is a solid answer. The act of making laws on certain issues is done in the Dash A of each state. You're right. Legislative Assembly is the correct answer. If two parties have scored equal votes, then a coalition in a party happens. Sharp thinking. True is the right choice. The state has the responsibility to ensure that citizens are provided with. You got it. Your choice, all of the above, is right. The Mullahs who stand for elections belong to the different political party. Nice work. You chose true and it is correct. Hakim Sheikh was given proper treatment in the first hospital they asked. Strong choice. False is the right answer. How many assembly constituencies were there in Himachal Pradesh in 2017? Exactly. 68 makes sense, and it is right choice. The representatives who are not from the ruling, they are called the Dash. Good thinking. Opposition is the right answer. What system shares power between the federal government and the states? Excellent. Federal system is a brilliant choice. The branch of the government responsible for making laws is called Dash. Right choice. Legislature is the best answer. Does Chief Minister have to approve the law made and sign the document?
Solid response. No is a valid choice.
If there are 68 constituencies in a state, how many Mlas will it have?
Bravo. 68 is the answer.
Which document describes how the United States government is organized?
Great thinking. The Constitution is the right choice.
What were organized by the Assembly to discuss about government work?
Lot.
Excellent choice. Press conference is the right answer.
The chief ministers and ministers have the same office. True or false?
On track. False is the correct answer.
The political party that has the majority is called the ruling party.
Smart pick. Yes is the correct choice.
The party having won more than half of them last is said to be in dash.
Well reasoned. Majority is the correct choice.
A large number of people fall prey to waterborne diseases because of
Nice selection. Unclean drinking water is the correct and valid answer.
which branch of the government refers to the courts and legal system?
Correct. Judiciary is the right answer.
In a democracy, people can express their view through TV channels only.
Smart move. False is an accurate answer.
What are the people representatives in the state legislature called? Excellent choice. Las is the right answer. All the parties that fail to get majority are together known as dash. Smart move. The opposition is an accurate answer.
Dash is the place where mullahs from ruling party and opposition meet. Right again. Legislative Assembly is a valid answer.
The general elections were held for the first time in India in dash.
Good thinking. 1951 is the right answer. How many constituencies are there in the state of Himachal Pradesh?
Perfect. 68 is the correct choice. Legislatures that have only one house are called dash legislature.
Strong choice. Unicameral is the right answer. The governor of a state should not be less than dash a years of age. Well reasoned. 35 is the correct choice. How many Mars is needed in a political party to have a majority?
Nice selection. 34 is the correct and valid answer.
A proposal to pass a new law or change an existing one is called. You got it. Your choice bill is right. What was the language of administration under the Delhi Sultans? Right choice. Persian is the best answer. The state of Himachal Pradesh has dash assembly constituencies. Solid response. 68 is a valid choice.
What was a piece of land given to a noble called by the rulers? Correct response. Ictus is the most accurate answer.
The executive power of the state is formally vested in the dash. You chose governor, and it is correct. What is the name given to the party with the second most votes?
Nicely done. Opposition is a solid answer.
What is the role of a member of the Legislative Assembly?
Bravo! To represent the people is the answer. Himachal Pradesh is divided into dash assembly constituencies.
Smart pick. 68 is the correct choice.
The head of the state is dash, and she is appointed by dash.
Well done. Governor, central government is the right choice. At which place do all the Mallas meet to discuss various things?
Great job. Legislative Assembly is the accurate answer.
Members of the Legislative Assembly are elected by the.
Exactly. People make sense and it is right choice.
The gathering of media persons is called Legislative Assembly.
Nice work. You chose false, and it is correct.
Head of the ruling party of a state is also known as the dash. Good job. Your answer, Chief Minister, works well here. Online shopping is catching up in India at a very fast rate. Excellent. True is a brilliant choice.
There are 28 states and union territories in our country.
Clear logic. Your choice 8 is sound and 100% true. Name any 2 constituencies that were mentioned in the debate. Great thinking. Talpatti, a Kandigan is the right choice. A governor is to a state as the president is to the country. Sharp thinking. True is the right choice. Vidhan Parishad is the dash house of the state legislature. Well picked. Upper is the correct answer. President is represented by chief ministers in the states. On track. False is the correct answer. Who made the plans to capture Mongol territory but failed? Oh. Correct. Muhammad bin Tuamluk is the right answer. How often are elections held for the Legislative Assembly?
Valid point. Every 5 years is true. In the discussion, from which constituency was Mla 3 from?
You're right. Post is the correct answer. The executive branch makes laws in the state government. Clear logic. Your choice false is sound and 100% true. In which year did a big dengue epidemic strike in India? 2006 is the answer. The dash number of doctors qualify every year in our country. Solid response. 30,000 is a valid choice. The president is in charge of this branch of government. Exactly. Executive makes sense, and it is right choice. The coins minted under the Tomaras and Chauhans called. Valid point. Dilliwal is true.
During state elections, each state is divided into dash. Well done. Electoral constituencies is the right choice.
How many Malay constituencies does Himachal Pradesh have? On track, 68 is the correct answer.
What will be there after a discussion in the assembly? Great job. Press conference is the accurate answer.
Who is responsible for the welfare of the constituency? Good job. Your answer Mla works well here. What is the most widely accepted theory of government? Great thinking. Social contract is the right choice. Members of Legislative Assembly are selected by people. Good thinking. True is the right answer. In how many constituents Himachal Pradesh is divided? Well picked. 68 is the correct answer. To make a law, people have an idea that becomes a dash. Excellent choice. Bill is the right answer. What refers to buying and selling in large quantities? Smart pick. Wholesale market is the correct choice. Delhi's authority was challenged by Mongol invasions.
Strong choice. True is the right answer.
who works in the judicial branch of state government.
Correct. Judges is the right answer.
Can make rules about trade between states and nations.
You chose central government, and it is correct. There are two kinds of bill money bill and dash bill. Nice selection. Ordinary is the correct and valid answer.
Sermon delivered by the imam during the Friday prayer.
Excellent. Khutbah is a brilliant choice.
Which body is responsible for making laws in a state?
Perfect. Legislative Assembly is the correct choice.
The states with just one house has dash legislature.
You got it? Your choice unicameral is right.
What is the other name for the Legislative Assembly?
Well reasoned. Assembly is the correct choice.
Who appoints the chief minister and other ministers?
Right choice. Governor is the best answer. Who will elect the chief minister after elections?
Nice work. You chose Malas, and it is correct. Maharashtra and Telangana has mayoral legislature. Nicely done. True is a solid answer.
The president of the Legislative Assembly was this.
Sharp thinking. Speaker is the right choice.
The party with more number of votes is called the.
Smart move. Majority is an accurate answer.
Each state is divided into different areas or dash.
You're right. Constituencies is the correct answer.
State Council of Ministers are responsible to dash.
Correct response. Legislative Assembly is the most accurate answer.
Which ruler first established his capital at Delhi?
Right again. Your royal is a valid answer.
Who defeated Tomara Rajputs in the middle century?
Nice work. You chose Chauhans, and it is correct.
Where do the Mlas meet to discuss various issues?
On track. The Legislative Assembly is the correct answer.
Name the permanent house of the state legislative.
Good job. Your answer Legislative Assembly works well here.
How many branches does the state government have? Smart pick. 3 is the correct choice.
The independents can also stand in the elections.
Excellent choice. True is the right answer.
What is the main function of the state executive?
Sharp thinking. Executing laws is the right choice. Which of these is the depth of state government? Well picked. All of these is the correct answer.
Laws for the entire country are made in the dash. Right again. Parliament is a valid answer.
The governor of a state in India is appointed by.
Nicely done. President is a solid answer.
The governor of a state is appointed by the dash.
Right choice. Central government is the best answer. All 50 states have legislatures made up of who?
Strong choice. Representatives is the right answer.
The main law-making agency of the state is dash.
Exactly. Legislative Assembly makes sense, and it is right choice.
Member of Legislative Assembly is known as dash.
You chose Ma, and it is correct.
The dash shop owners have to pay taxes and rent. Solid response. Permanent is a valid choice.
Who is the acting head of the state government?
Nice selection. Chief Minister is the correct and valid answer.
How many constituencies are there in Jharkhand?
Clear logic. Your choice 81 is sound and 100% true.
Who is the first women prime minister in India?
You're right. Indira Gandhi is the correct answer. Himachal Pradesh has dash assembly constituency. Great job. 68 is the accurate answer. Who elects members of the Legislative Assembly? Bravo! People is the answer. State judicial branches are usually led by who? Good thinking. State Supreme Court is the right answer. Special slaves purchased for military service. Excellent. Bandagan is a brilliant choice.
Are private hospitals owned by the government?
Correct response. No is the most accurate answer. Whom did the BJP Malas choose as their leader? Valid point. Mr. Jairam Thakur is true.
Private healthcare services provide with dash.
Well done. The best facilities is the right choice. Who heads the executive branch in the state? You got it? Your choice governor is right.
In what is each state in India divided into?
Smart move. Constituencies is an accurate answer.
Which is the 29th state of India after 2014?
Great thinking. Telangana is the right choice.
In 2017, who was the Chief Minister of India?
Well reasoned. Mr. Jairam Thakur is the correct choice.
When Dash signs the bill, it becomes a law?
Perfect. Governor is the correct choice.
Who appoints the Chief Minister of a state?
Correct. Governor is the right answer.
Who is appointed by the central government?
Great job. Governor is the accurate answer.
Who is the overall head of the government?
You chose president or prime minister, and it is correct.
The leader of the ruling party is the dash. Good thinking. Chief Minister is the right answer.
What are the three branches of government?
Valid point. Judicial, executive, legislative is true.
Who is the head of a legislative assembly?
You got it. Your choice, Chief Minister, is right.
Who becomes the Chief Minister of a state?
Exactly. Leader of majority party makes sense, and it is right choice. Who made Delhi capital for the first time? Perfect. Your royal is the correct choice.
What are members of the opposition called?
Smart move. Opposition members is an accurate answer.
In a democracy, a government is formed by.
Bravo. People's representatives is the answer.
Every state in India has a dash assembly.
Sharp thinking. Legislative is the right choice.
What does mass dual responsibilities mean?
Nice work. You chose both A and B, and it is correct.
For elections, each state is divided into
Smart pick. Legislative Council is the correct choice.
The dash can also stand in the elections. Well reasoned. Independence is the correct choice. How is the governor of a state appointed?
Well done. Central government is the right choice.
Law of the entire country is made in the...
Well picked. Parliament is the correct answer.
Each state has 3 branches of government. Good job. Your answer false works well here. Who is responsible for medical services? Right choice. Health Minister is the best answer.
The party with most votes is called the...
Nice selection. Majority is the correct and valid answer.
Laws for the states are made in the dash.
Correct response. Legislative Assembly is the most accurate answer.
Dash health services are profit-oriented.
Right again. Private health service is a valid answer.
Who comes up with the law in the state?
Excellent choice. MLAS is the right answer.
The Legislative Council is a dash house.
Solid response. Permanent is a valid choice. Diarrhea spreads through contaminated.
Strong choice. Water is the right answer.
3 levels of government in India are...
Correct. Central, state, local is the right answer.
Chief Minister is appointed by the dash.
Excellent. Governor is a brilliant choice.
Tawarik was written in which language?
Nicely done. Persian is a solid answer.
India is the largest dash in the world. On track? Democracy is the correct answer. Who have real authority in our country? You're right. People is the correct answer. Duty of the Legislative Assembly is 2. Clear logic. Your choice make laws is sound and 100% true. Land governed by military commanders. Great thinking. Ill is the right choice. Where was Hakim Sheikh finally taken? Right again. Private hospital is a valid answer. What do we call the Assembly of MLAS? Correct. Legislative Assembly is the right answer. Our constitution describes India as a... Good thinking. Union of States is the right answer. The state government is headed by the... Correct response. Chief Minister is the most accurate answer. The functions of state legislature is... Valid point. All the above is true. What are different types of markets? Nicely done. All of these is a solid answer. Money bill can be introduced only in... Excellent. Assembly is a brilliant choice. Government works at how many levels? Great job. 3 is the accurate answer. A fortified settlement with soldiers? Sharp thinking. Garrison town is the right choice. Legislative Council, this also called. Perfect. Legislative Council is the correct choice. Why are press conferences organized? Excellent choice. To discuss current issues is the right answer. The dash
is a form of a money bill.
Good job. Your answer state budget works well here.
Who appoints governor of the state?
Nice work. You chose central government, and it is correct.
The dash has a term of 5 years?
Smart pick. Assembly is the correct choice.
The branches of the government are?
Nice selection. All of the above is the correct and valid answer.
Who organizes a press conference? You're right. The ministers is the correct answer.
Who is the governor of our state? Great thinking. Tamil Nadu Soundararajan is the right choice.
By whom is the governor appointed?
Clear logic. Your choice central government is sound and 100% true.
Who is the head of the executive?
You chose chief minister, and it is correct.
The number of states in India are?
Smart move. 28 is an accurate answer.
Who is in charge of the military?
Solid response. The president is a valid choice.
Razia Sultan was a daughter of. Right choice. Shamsuddin Iltutmish is the best answer.
Every state is divided into dash. Bravo. Constituencies is the answer. India is called Union of States.
Strong choice. True is the right answer.
Who appoints the prime minister?
Well reasoned. President is the correct choice.
Who becomes the chief minister?
On track. Leader of winning party is the correct answer.
What do you mean by legislature?
You got it? Your choice member in Legislative Assembly is right.
Each state has a Supreme Court.
Exactly, false makes sense, and it is right choice.
The Union Executive consists of.
Well done. All of the above is the right choice.
REMS is the short form of dash.
Well picked. Registered medical practitioners is the correct answer.
Who runs the state government?
You got it. Your choice chief minister is right. The chief minister of Delhi is.
Nice selection. Arvind Kejriwal is the correct and valid answer.
Who is the head of the state?
Well picked. None of the above is the correct answer.
The head of the state is dash. Nice work. You chose governor, and it is correct.
Head of Legislative Assembly.
Well done. Chief Minister is the right choice.
The head of the executive is.
Strong choice.
Chief Minister is the right answer.
The most famous Mongol ruler.
Smart move. Genghis Khan is an accurate answer.
What is the full form of Ma?
Correct response. Member of Legislative Assembly is the most accurate answer.
Mullahs are elected by the dash.
Well reasoned. People of India is the correct choice.
Wallpapers project involves.
Excellent. All of these is a brilliant choice.
The highest leader of a city. Sharp thinking. Mayor is the right choice. What is minimum age to vote? Great thinking.
18 is the right choice.
Mullahs sit in the parliament.
Nicely done. True is a solid answer. Every state has a governor. Good thinking. True is the right answer. Who appoints the governor? Right again. The central government is a valid answer. Who forms the government? Smart pick. Ruling party is the correct choice. The full form of MAL is? Exactly. Member of Legislative Assembly makes sense and it is right choice. What does MLA stand for? On track. Member of Legislative Assembly is the correct answer. And MLA is elected by the? Valid point. Public is true. The leader of a state. Bravo. Governor is the answer. Mullahs are elected by. Solid response. The people is a valid choice. Who controls state? Excellent choice. Chief Minister is the right answer. The Mullahs debate in. You chose Legislative Assembly, and it is correct. Who is retailer? Clear logic. Your choice small traders is sound and 100% true. Full form of MLA. Right choice. Member of Legislative Assembly is the best answer.
Who elected SMA? You're right. People of constituency is the correct answer.
Vijay refers to. Good job. Your answer Bharat Janata Party works well here. PETS stands for? Great job. Primary health care is the accurate answer. INC stand for? Perfect. Indian National Congress is the correct choice. MLA stands for? Correct. Member of Legislative Assembly is the right answer. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format? Smart move. Contact Narayan Chengder on Facebook is an accurate answer.